evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Simability SK Super Series live on the JPB YouTube channel. I am Rob Sluiter, your host, and we are here at Bristol Motor Speedway for 100 laps in round one of the 2023 season. Bristol, one of our bigger tracks on the session. We got 20 rounds of racing this season, and we're going to start it out like at Bristol. We've got quite a few drivers in the field, 15 drivers so far on track. The weather, a nice brisk 84 degrees Fahrenheit tonight, so these drivers are going to be running in some warm, possibly slick conditions with 62 degree of humidity outside. So these drivers are going to go through some stuff. We'll see. Don Koneman up on top of the boards, and Tom Johnson is second right now. These guys are putting down 15.2 second laps. Koneman out front with a 15.21, and Tom Johnson out there right next to him. So now we've got Daniel Cook moving up to P2 at the moment. And he just put in a 15.24. As you see, we've got about 4 minutes left of practice. And half of the field's on the track, half of the field is off. Tom Johnson, third quick right now, the number 23 machine. He is your past champion, so he is going to be looking to defend his championship from last season. We raced the NASCAR trucks, and he ended up taking home the championship on the last race, battling with the guy who is in the top spot right now, the number 97 of Don Koneman. So Don Koneman looking to try to take that championship this season. It was swiped away from literally at the last race, only by a few points, with Tom Johnson coming out overhead. So we'll watch these two make a battle of it throughout the season. And Daniel Cook in the 5 there, he's really showing some speed up in second place on the scoreboard at the moment. So keep an eye on him. It looks like these modifieds are really suiting him well, and we'll see him up towards the front of the field. Jacob Van, who took a race win in his first couple races here with us, is currently 4th position on the board. Nate Cotilla in the number 4 is 5th quick. And we got Stephen Kiefer in the number 22 machine. Love checking out all these brand new paint schemes on opening night. He's got that number 22 hot rod in 6th position at a 15.27, only 600ths off the pace. So these guys are running fairly quick. I have to imagine that we are going to see a little bit of drafting and whatnot coming into play. So we'll pay attention to that throughout the session here. Travis Zudema in the number 90 machine is currently 7th on the scoreboard. Justin Sharp, a new name here in the Simability Racing League, in the number 11, currently 8th quick with a 15.29, so still under a 10th away from the leader. It looks like might have a teammate right there. Oh, it looks like that is Nate Cotilla in that Ford machine. Looks like they're running same paint scheme this year, so a couple teammates together. And Cotilla right there with that drafting help is going to move to the top of the boards just before practice is over. 1 minute and 5 seconds left in practice, and Nate Cotilla is going to take the top of the board. And Koneman's not on track, so I don't think he's going to challenge for it. So it looks like that is going to be your fastest time in practice with a 15.207. Or 312, sorry about that, just under Don's 15.4. So very quick time for Nate Cotilla, and he's definitely going to be happy to be up there, see if he can actually pull that off in the qualifying session. Johnny Berardi is in 9th place right now, and running on our top 10 in the scoreboard is Billy Wise in the number 32 machine. So 15 drivers registered for the race tonight. They are getting ready to go qualifying, and we are going to go over some of the new features with the Simability Racing League and kind of how the point system is going to work for these drivers. And that's going to be the end of practice right there. Nate Cotilla is going to take the top spot. Don Koneman third. Daniel Cook fourth. Tom Johnson and Jacob Van.
Set up was parked. It should have enough fuel, gentlemen. Should, being the key word.
And there it is. That's your practice session. Oh, and it looks like I am misreading, messed up. Looks like we actually have 10 minutes left in practice. Jumping the gun there. So Don Koneman still has some time to take that top spot away from Cotilla. Now, so with our point system that we're working on this year, every driver is going to get a point for the position they finished. So there is a total of 15 points up for grabs tonight for the winner of this race. And we do have some bonus points for safest driver. I believe we have a bonus point for the most positions gained in a race. And we also have what we call the lucky dog point, something that's brand new this year. Drivers that elect to not take the admin waiver rounds that we give and stay on the a lap down to be able to get an iRacing given lucky dog will get a point towards their championship. So as you see, Don Koneman puts it in the pits. He gets the fastest time with a 15.165, 4/10 quicker than Nate Cotilla. So that was a very fast run. Cotilla is going to be out there hard pressed to try to beat that time, but he really laid down a pretty quick time right there. And it's definitely going to be fairly hard to beat. You see that hippie colored number 3, that's Thomas Wise. He was running the Budweiser truck last year, and now he's got a tie-dye number 3. So we'll keep an eye on him, and he'll be pretty easy to spot way up here in the stands. You see Dalton Brown's joining us tonight. He's right in front of him in that number 33 machine. He's running the Pepsi paint scheme. It looks like possibly a throwback Pepsi paint scheme. So good to see Dalton Brown here back in that number 33 machine. Brian Lowhead is here there right behind him in the number 24 machine. Nice big field here. Daniel Cook's got himself up to third still. Top spots aren't really changing. And these are the SK modifieds. They are not the national modifieds that we have, so they are a little underpowered. These guys do spend a lot of time on the throttle and barely any time on the brakes. So especially here at Bristol with the half mile, these guys are really going to basically be wide open this entire time. It looks like Don Koneman is on the track. Let's give you a view of what it's like in these cars around Bristol. Here going through the corner, he's not really lifting off too much. If he is, it's just a little bump to lift off, and he's coming up on, looks like the number 14, Robert Wise. He's gonna get the inside, but very, very quick machine for Don Koneman tonight. That number 97, he's sitting at the top of the boards. Can Nate Cotilla knock him back down? The number 4 machine is quite hot tonight. Oh, and he loses it coming off of turn 4. Hopefully we don't see that happen in the race. Everybody else avoids him, but he's good. Tom Johnson's still sitting in 4th. He's really going to have to pick up some speed if he wants to battle with Koneman tonight. He's about 3/10 off Koneman's pace at this point. Looks like we got a couple of our drivers out. Johnny Berardi in that number 99. He was just behind Brian Nate Cotilla when he spun out just a moment ago. But good to see Johnny back in that number 99 machine. Someone's wrecking out in front of him. Looks like the 14 again. Someone's on their lid. Looks like some crazy stuff going on. There's Michael Eaton in the number 8 machine. Nice bright green outline on that 8. Nice looking paint scheme on that car tonight. 5 minutes left in practice here, and I believe we basically went through most of the field. Daniel Cook out there trying to pick up his time. 1 to 2 tenths off Don Koneman's pace. That coming up on the field, that's the 22 machine. Steven Kiefer loves that paint job. Those flames on that modified really make it look like it's moving. But we'll see if he's down in 6th position. We'll take a look at his car cam, see if we see anything different than what we see from Don. It's basically on the throttle most of the way. It's I bet you a lot of it's going to be done with the line you're taking into the corner. Where you're entering in, where you're hitting that apex, and how straight you can get that car as soon as possible to have the best run without creating that friction and turning that tire. So high side might be able to do it if we see some drafting here, maybe not. It'll all depend on the rubber that gets into this track. As you can see, it's starting to turn a little bit black on the banking areas because these guys do have some fairly wide tires. They do put a lot of rubber down, so we should see this track change quite a bit over the 100 laps here. And a lot of these drivers, at least in the top 4, have got over 100 laps in practice already. So we're really starting to see the tire wear coming into the racetrack, and with all the drivers really putting down them laps, we're really going to start to see a change in it, and it could bring a change in the handling for these cars. It's the lights are coming on, the sun's going down, it's going to cool off, the track's going to rubber up, and it's really going to make something of a race for these guys, especially if they're full throttle. It's not going to take much for this whole pack to get caught up in an issue. So we have got 4 faster pairs for the evening. So these guys are going to have to deal with some short track tempers and maybe some busted up race cars in order to make it to the end of this thing. There we see Travis Zunema in the number 90 machine. He's back on track, and he's running the black and yellow paint scheme today. Great to see Travis back on track in the modifieds. We did quite a bit of modified racing in the Wacky Wednesdays. We only broadcasted a few of those, but the Wacky Wednesdays we did quite a few races in the off season, and we had some really awesome modified racing in those weeks. People seemed to really like them. The competition was strong, so we are back for the 2023 season with the SK Modifieds. We have an amazing schedule for you guys. It is going to be one for the record books. 20 tracks. And we have the All-Star Challenge Series. 4 races throughout the season in the schedule. If you can win all 4 races, the driver's going to win an added cash bonus. So definitely something to watch out for when we get to our All-Star Challenge races. And I believe the incident, you'll only be getting 2 faster pairs in those. So it's going to really take some skill to make it to the end of the race, and it's going to take even more skill to come out on top on the finish line. We do race every single Wednesday. Qualifying is at 8 o'clock sharp, and we go rolling off at 8:05. So as practice is 30 seconds away from winding down, these drivers are going to get ready and put in a couple qualifying laps and get ready for the gridding of the round 1 SK Super Series at Bristol. 100 laps. It could go by pretty quick. These 15-second laps, 100 laps will go by very fast with these guys going this quick. So as long as we don't see any problems, we should be all right. Nate Cotilla wasn't able to top Don Koneman on top of the board, so Cotilla is going to have to settle for second. And now these drivers will get ready to go out, put a couple laps down in qualifying, and we will check on the grid in just a moment. We're just going to take one more look at our weather tonight. Track is going to change throughout the night. It's 8 o'clock at night in the sim, so the weather is definitely going to change here in Tennessee. And 100 laps is the distance. So these cars, man, they are quick and they are open wheels. So any little bit of touching is going to cause a serious problem. So we'll see what these guys get to do with that. And they are going to put in some of their qualifying. Tom Johnson currently on top of the charts. Nate Cotilla in second. And no, Don Koneman jumps to the top. So these guys really battling out, about to get their laps in. But we are going to step aside quick a second. And ladies and gentlemen, if you would rise, fellas, remove your caps. And we are going to pay tribute to the great country we live in here with our national anthem. Big thank you to Billy Wise, driver that number 32, for putting that beautiful rendition of our Star Spangled Banner together for us. And we are getting ready to go racing. We only have 1 minute left in qualifying. And I believe most of our drivers have put a lap down. Only a couple drivers have not yet hit the track. So we'll be waiting just 1 more minute, and then we will find out our starting lineup for the first round of the Simability SK Super Series here live on JP Broadcasting. Thank you for coming out and welcome. This is a group of drivers that really put on a show, and they like to have a lot of fun doing it. They all sit in a Discord, and the Discord might even be more entertaining than the racing they do on track. They are just a fun group of guys. If you're interested in joining, if you're disabled and would like to join and don't know how, make sure you go check out Simability.com, the one-stop shop for finding everything you need to make sim racing possible for you. Glenn is such an awesome guy. He does everything he can to help you out and make sure that you have got what you need to make sim racing possible. And that's what this is all about, spreading the word that sim racing is possible. And there you have it. Jacob Van takes the pole with a 15.200. Don Koneman coming on the outside. Daniel Cook going to take third position, starting on inside row number 2 with Stephen Kiefer starting on the outside there. Tom Johnson and Johnny Berardi are going to make up row number 3. Thomas Wise and Nate Cotilla in row number 4. Billy Wise got himself up to 9th position with Justin Sharp in that number 10, in that number 11, starting in 10th position. Robert Wise, nice quick time for that number 14 machine, up to 11th place. Dalton Brown in 12th position. And right after Dalton, we have Michael Eden in the 8. Chris Roberge in the 98, who we are still waiting to see key up. Travis Zudema in the 90, and Brian Lowhead in the 24, rounding out our field. So just getting ready, almost ready. We're going to see that pace car roll off. We'll probably see one pace lap, and then we are going to get ready to go. Congratulations to that number 15 machine, Jacob Van, on the pole for the first round of the Simability SK Super Series. And this is going to be a show. I think we're just waiting for one more driver to show up. Chris Roberge in the 98, a late entry. Is he going to make it? We got about 7 seconds before the grid starts. Is he going to get in? I do not see him getting in. So he might be starting from the pits, but we will see. I'm pretty sure that pace car is going to roll off here in just a second, and there he goes. Jacob Van going to lead him to the green. But watch out for that number 5 machine. He's starting in in third position there, right in the second row, right behind that 15. If he can get them tires down below that 97, he might be able to take that spot away from Koneman and make Koneman really fight for it at that point. So 16 drivers here registered at the moment. Roberge went back to the pits, so I don't know if he had a steering wheel problem or something. We will see what happens with him, but good to see him out. That makes 16 drivers here. White flag in the air. We're going racing next time. And a beautiful field of cars here for the opening night of 2023. And we're going to do our best to keep you up to date with all the action that's about to perspire. Restarts are always on the leader after the pace car is off the track. So here comes the pace car. It's going to be on green. Pace car dives to the inside, and it's going to be on Jacob Van. Green flag is in the air. We're racing here in Bristol. Everybody side by side at the moment. Couple cars down below the apron. You don't want to do that too much. Koneman and Van get a great start, and they already come out with a 4-car length gap over top of Stephen Kiefer, who gets it done on the high side. He's going to move up to 3rd position. Some intense battling still back in the field. Daniel Cook battling with Tom Johnson right now. Cook in front of Johnson. Johnson trying to get it back. Van and Koneman running away from this one at the moment. And Chris Ramirez looks like he's back on track. But he is going to be a lap or two down. Jacob Van currently running away from Don Koneman at the moment. He's got a 2-car length gap over top of him. Don Koneman in second. Stephen Kiefer third. Daniel Cook moving up to fourth position. And Tom Johnson rounding out your top 5. Nate Cotilla, who's our our fastest in practice there, is currently 6th position, struggling to hold on to some pace. And he's got Sharp right behind him, looking to take advantage. But with those two being teammates, I don't see that that being a problem. Sorry about the audio issues, folks. Didn't realize that we had some issues there, but we got it all squared away. 7 laps into the race here. Jacob Van out front, Don Koneman in second, Stephen Kiefer third, Daniel Cook fourth, and Tom Johnson in year 5. There's not much shuffling around going on. I believe everybody's about single file, just trying to get by some lap cars there. You see that number 98 of Chris Ramirez. He's got the Hot Wheels paint scheme on, so he's running a couple laps down, or just following his first lap down at the moment. So he will be the lucky dog if we get a caution flag, which will give him the first point of the season for anybody. He could still, he's a pretty quick driver. He could still battle and get back up in front of these leaders if we keep it going green flag, because we are about to complete lap number 10. I believe Koneman's just giving Van a little bit of breathing room and just kind of cruising there. Big wrecking down in the back. I heard some wrecking going on. And that's a caution flag. What in the world happened there? Big crash between Thomas Wise. And it looks like Brian Lowhead. Lowhead comes up into Wise. Wise moves down. Lowhead sends it into 3, and oh! They just get together, and Thomas Wise and Brian Lowhead. Let's watch that one more time, and we'll take a look at the roll bar cam there from Thomas Wise. He's on the inside. There's Lowhead. It just kind of looks like he just comes down a little bit on Lowhead. So tough break for those two. It looks like Nate Cotilla had an after effect during that. Looks like the wreck might have happened in front of the leaders. They had to avoid it. Oh, and Cotilla gets hard in the Lowhead. So tough break for the number 4. He's going to have to go to the back of the field, and he turns up in front of the rest of the field. That is crazy. There it is. That's your first caution. 3 to 4 drivers involved. And up front is Jacob Van. A couple drivers coming down into the pit roads. But Jacob Van out front. Stephen Kiefer. Looks like something happened with Koneman. Koneman coming down to the pit road. So that's going to open up P2 for Kiefer. Daniel Cook is now 3rd. Tom Johnson in 4th. And Justin Sharp in 5th. I got Billy Wise there, right in that 32 machine. Started P9, and he's up to 6th place now. Very quick driver here, so look to see him moving up to the front of the field. And Koneman and Cotilla are going to have to get through some drivers. I believe Robert is going to get that lucky dog because of that caution. So he is going to be put back on the lead lap. And once we get coming around here, we will see where all of our drivers are at from the pit stop situation we just had. Lots of drivers coming on and off pit road. Lots of drivers staying out on track. I believe if we go back, I believe 8th place and up were cars that stayed out. So about half the field took tires, half the field didn't. And Jacob Van's going to get a chance at his first restart in these modifieds. Leader does have control of the restarts once the pace car pulls off the track, so you really can get an advantage if you could really beat that car on your outside. And that car on his outside is that number 22, Steven Kiefer. We don't talk about him too much, but he runs up towards the front just out of sight. So we'll see if these modifieds are a little more to his liking other than them trucks. But that 22 seems to be on fire. And Daniel Cook in that number 5, he's really holding on to himself here too. So getting ready through 3 and 4. That pace car is getting ready to come off, and we are going to go back. Green flag racing. 16 laps complete out of the 100. And we're back going. Jacob Van's on the loud pedal. He gets 2 car lengths on Steven Kiefer before they get to turn number 1. A little bit of battling going on. Not a whole lot in the front pack. These guys are all just going to straighten it out and try to keep behind each other. This draft will really help. And yellow flag comes out. Cautions breed cautions, and it looks like Johnny Berardi, the number 99 machine, is going to be the cause of the caution. He's actually in the pit road already, which seems like it's going to be a tough break. Let's take a look at this one more time and see what happened with Johnny Berardi in the 99. He's up there on the high side on top of Koneman, and he gets into Koneman, and Koneman kind of gets him in the wall. Take a look at that from Koneman's point of view. Oh, it looks like it just got turned down into, so that's going to be a racing deal there. And Jacob Van's going to be back out front collecting some laps with the caution flag. There's Koneman right there coming out of the pits. Currently 8th position in that number 97. Oh, that wasn't Koneman. That must have been Brian Lowhead coming out of the pits. So we do have a few drivers. Look like they are a lap down at the moment. Brian Lowhead and Thomas Wise. And it looks like we had some more possible crashes, but everybody seems like they're looking pretty decent here. Nice line of modifieds, just itching to get going green flag racing. But Jacob Van living the dream. He came here right at the end of the season and just wanted a really awesome place to come race. And within his first 2 races, he won. And I believe he won another one in the Wacky Wednesdays. So he was really happy to be here, and he's really putting on a show. Currently out front, he's been leading this whole race. So good drive for the number 15 so far. Koneman's got himself back up to 8th from that issue being in 2nd. So we'll see if Koneman can catch up, but he's got a few fast drivers to get by before he gets there. Billy Wise slowly working his way up in that number 32 machine. He is up to 5th position, and it looks like he's having possibly a little bit of a connection issue. Billy Wise rocking the Action Sports Foundation machine tonight. And it looks like we are getting ready to double them up and get back going green flag racing. Pace car turns the lights off and they get the one to go signal. So we are going to go side by side racing at the stripe to complete lap number 23. Only a 5th of the way through the race. They've already had 3 caution flags, so trying to keep it on the low side, but Bristol, tempers flare, get really close, it's high speed and high banks. And it tends to happen. So here comes Jacob Van. Out of turn number 4. On the loud pedal he goes, gets a little bit of a gap. Green flag's in the air, we're back racing. Tom Johnson trying to make moves on the outside. He's outside the top 5 at the moment. Daniel Cook really trying to hold on, but Tom Johnson making a move, and Billy Wise falling back hard in that number 32. He's already back to 7th. Might be losing down to 8th place, so really, really tough break there for Billy. In that number 32, Tom Johnson gets it up to 3rd. Mr. Consistency. And Justin Sharp is sticking his nose in there right alongside Don Koneman, who's trying to take that 4th place spot away from Daniel Cook. Cook really holding the strong drive in that 5. He goes to block down. Don Koneman gets into the wall just a little bit. It allows Sharp to get by and then to even out. Now Koneman has to deal with Billy Wise and possibly a little bit of toe knocked out of that right front of that car. Pay attention to see if anything really happens with that. Travis Zudema, the number 8 machine, or 90 machine, is working his way up. He's up 7 positions from where he started so far, so working slow and steady, trying to get up to the front. He's now challenging Billy Wise, and there's a caution flag. Dalton Brown having some problems. We will take a look and see what happened there. Number 33 Pepsi machine, he just touches that apron, tries to save it, and he can't. He does a nice job of keeping it off the wall and keeping it out of everybody's way, and he's just going to spin out, and that's going to be a quick caution. Great driving and great recovery for that guy there. Said we had a big problem here, so we're going to take a look and see what this replay is, because it said everybody was crashing, and it's just everybody hitting the brakes real hard. So iRacing doesn't know what they're doing really well. Might be a little bit of internet problems in there, but no, we're looking all good. Jacob Van out front, Kiefer in 2nd, and Tom Johnson's got himself up to 3rd in that number 23 machine. Trying to gain them points on Koneman, who is in 6th place right now. But that man on the move right now, looking to get that point, Travis Zudema. A number 90 machine. He's a quick driver. Likes to start in the back and stay behind the mess and then work his way up, and it's exactly what he's doing. 6th place is not a bad place to be on lap number 31. And being right behind Billy Wise and Don Koneman is a pretty good place to be. You see Chris Robert's right there in the 98 machine. He did start, or he did not start with the field. He ended up starting from the pits, but he's got himself back into the top 10, up to 9th position. So that number 98 coming in strong in that Hot Wheels machine. Didn't think we were going to see him show up for this series. Glad we did. He's a great driver and brings a lot of competition to this series. And him and Koneman really pretty close in times and in racing together. So good to see that 98 come and show up. The Flying Canadian right there. Chris Robert's up 5 positions right behind Zudema. So those two really working the field and getting it done from the back. But up front, Jacob Van holding it on. And that number 15 machine, he got the pole. He's led the whole race. He's sitting pretty in that number 15. 1/3 of the way through the race here now. And the lights are off on the pace car. We're going to stack them back 2 by 2 and get ready for our 3rd green flag restart on lap number 34. Tom Johnson now starting on the inside of row number 2. Can he use that momentum to get by Kiefer on the start? Johnson is a seasoned driver, so we'll take a look. They're getting ready to go through 3 and 4, and that pace car is going to make that hard left turn down to the inside. And Van holds on a minute and then gets on the gas. Doesn't really get too much of a jump. And we're back underway through turn number 1. Everybody's getting through fairly clean. Big battle in the middle. Koneman trying to get around Sharp on the outside. And Johnson did get around Kiefer. Moved Tom Johnson up to second place. Starting inside row number 2 is definitely something that'll help you on a restart. But I heard some tires squealing, but it looks like we're okay. The 5 gets dangerously close to Koneman. Koneman holds on and takes the position away. Move Koneman up to 4th position. Now he's going to try to battle and chase down Steven Kiefer. Billy Wise and Travis Zunema very, very close. Zunema up to 7th place, trying to get by Billy Wise. And Wise battling back on the inside. He's going to take that position from Zunema. And right behind these guys is Nate Cotilla. Up front, Jacob Van, Tom Johnson, Steven Kiefer, and Don Koneman. Billy Wise and Travis Zunema still battling side by side. And it looks like Billy's going to come out on top, but Zunema going to battle back on the outside. Here comes Nate Cotilla in the number 4. He's going to take advantage of that door being open. Travis tries to close the door, but he can't get it. And now Cotilla going to go to the inside of Wise. 2 for 1 in 3 and 4. And Cotilla trying to get up. He's going to take that spot away. Move Cotilla up to 7th position. That's going to knock Billy Wise down to 9th. Battle is heating up with Kiefer, Koneman, and Cook. Koneman getting under Kiefer. Kiefer ran real wide there in 3 and 4. Looks like Koneman's really stuck at the bottom there. He gets by Kiefer. And now Cook trying to take advantage of that door being open. Oh, he gets really close. He bumps. I can't tell if they actually touched there. Koneman gets loose. They're 3 wide across the stripe. They are getting really dicey here on lap number 43. Just under 60 laps to go. Cook falls back. Now it's Koneman, Kiefer, Cook, and Sharp. Koneman trying to work his way up to Tom Johnson now. Nate Cotilla's got a bumper full of Travis Zunema. Zunema really wants to get by and get that spot back. He is currently in 8th position. Sounds like Billy Wise and Chris Roberge had a problem. They're both in the pits, so something wrong with Billy Wise and Chris Roberge. The green flag is still going. Cotilla goes way high to the wall. Battle's still heating up with Kiefer and Cook. Kiefer trying to track down Koneman, but Jacob Van in the 15 is now way out in front, starting to catch lap cars. He's going by the number 14 of Robert Wise. And he is just going to ride this one out. Green flag runs here will go by very, very fast. We've seen that Billy Wise and Chris Robert are still in the pits, so massive problems for those two still in the pit road. So tough break for Billy Wise and Chris Robert. Not even making it to the halfway point. And caution didn't come out for him, so it's going to be really, really tough. Koneman takes the 2nd place from Tom Johnson. They're battling side by side, and Kiefer's right behind on the inside. Koneman trying to make it happen on the outside. Johnson doing everything he can to battle on the inside. These were your 2 championship contenders last season. Now duking it out for P2 while Jacob Van runs further and further away. Kiefer in that 22 machine. He's not going to let him get away. Let's take a look at what he's seeing with these two champs battling side by side. And lap traffic coming in. There's Billy Wise and Johnny Berardi slow on the inside. That does not make these two miss a beat. They're still side by side together battling for P2. So much give and take between the two. And you can tell that Kiefer is getting a little bit impatient there. He's got the 5 and the 11 out behind him. He doesn't know which way to go. He can't go forward, so he's got to now look back. And it looks like Tom Johnson is taking that spot back from Don Koneman. So great defensive driving by Tom Johnson. Leaves him in second place. 55 laps complete. 45 more laps to go here at the Simability round number 1 for the SK Super Series. And Jacob Van is really running away from this. There's nobody really around him to give him a challenge. I think he's just kind of cruising at the moment, saving some tires and waiting for Johnson and Koneman to catch up. We still have plenty of time for cautions, especially on this track. Tempers get high, and one little bump can send someone around just because you didn't like how someone touched you. So lots of room, almost 40 more laps to go now. Lots of room for issues. And there's still a big battle between Johnson and Sharp and Cook. Looks like Cook had possibly a big problem, and a yellow flag comes out just in time. Take a look and see what happened. Daniel Cook in that number 5 is who we are watching. Not really sure what happened to him. Got the 11 is Sharp behind him. They're really, really close there. And not really seeing what exactly happened with the number 5 machine. Well, I'm not really seeing what caused the caution. You might have missed it. But a tough break for Cook as he's sitting in the pits. And Jacob Van now has Don Koneman right on his tail. Tom Johnson lost a spot as Johnson's going to come down into the pits now. So we got a bunch of drivers making pit stops, taking some tires, seeing if some fresh rubber might help out their situation. Jacob Van's not leaving that front spot, and neither is Koneman. Koneman already had to work through the field once, and it took him another 50 laps to get back up here. But now they're back 1-2. Jacob Van, Don Koneman, Steven Kiefer is right behind him in that number 22 machine. And there's Billy Wise getting the wave around. Not sure if that was a championship point wave around or not, but a wave around just the same. We like to get guys back on the lead lap so that way they can enjoy the race and have a good time. Just because they make a mistake doesn't mean we got to kick you out of the race for good. So we try to preach good, clean, respectful racing. And these guys have been doing a lot of that tonight. We're already 60 laps in this 100 lap race, and Jacob Van hasn't left the front spot. He's been battling. Koneman was right there, and I don't think Koneman has led a lap yet. So every single lap led by Jacob Van so far. But now he's got that 97 starting right beside him. So hopefully we don't see any more cautions and we can get the last 35 laps under green. Looks like the number 8 of Michael Eden is getting a wave by as well. Michael Eden in the number 8 machine. And we are getting ready to go back racing 2x2. Pace car's pulling off. Jacob Van gonna try to do something. Koneman goes right at the line. Koneman not gonna let him get away. Green flags in the air. We're back racing at Bristol. 37 laps to go. Jacob Van out front. Don Koneman second. Stephen Kiefer third. And Travis Zunema, the number 90 machine, has worked his way all the way up to fourth position. A couple drivers taking pits. Dalton Brown now in fifth. And the battle for the lead is on. Don Koneman, Jacob Van, two drivers very, very quick. Van really wants to win this one. Koneman really wants to take this win away and start the season outright out front. Koneman rocking the swagger in. Paint scheme as he always does. Swagger in if you're ever around Lake Linden in Wisconsin. Best burgers around, so go check them out. Koneman, a big supporter of the swagger in there in his hometown. And he loves putting them out there on the side of his car for the world to see. He's trying so hard. He's right on the bumper of that number 15. This is lap number 70, coming to 30 laps to go, and we've got a three-way battle with Travis Zunema getting in the mix. Zunema in the 90 using the draft, catching up. Is he going to make a move on Koneman? He's going to look to the outside. He's not going to be able to do it as Koneman's still in that 15 draft. And if Zunema can catch up, then these other drivers can catch up, which is going to probably cause some problems for Jacob Van if he can't get away, because the more drivers that pop up, the more drivers that can use a draft against you. But it looks like Tom Johnson is actually quite a ways back, and he's got a little battle with Nico Tilla and Stephen Kiefer on his hands. Sharp in there as well, getting by Kiefer. Kiefer runs really wide there again. So the high line, not very good here at Bristol. Kiefer falling further and further back after running second for a while. Johnson back up to fourth in that number 23 machine. Van and Koneman racing very close still. As you see Sharp trying to take a look to the outside of Nate Cotilla. That number 11. Can he take Cotilla down? It looks like they're teammates, but one thing I know about racing is the one person you want to make sure you beat on race day is that teammate. Looks like Robert Wise coming up out of the pits there, that number 14 machine at the moment. And Jacob Van putting a bit of distance on Koneman at the moment while we're watching these three battle nose to tail. Oh, and Michael Eden must have spun out, and he's coming back on the track really slow. He's down. Looks like that number 8 machine is going to hit the pits, but that was a close call. Could have been a caution there. And now Jacob Van is really pulling away from Don Koneman. Getting ready to come to 20 more laps to go. That's 21 laps to go. And a caution flag on the track. Nate Cotilla and Dalton Brown really having some problems. Let's take a peek at what happened. Carnage on the front stretch. Nate Cotilla in the number 4. Gets into Johnny Berardi as he's trying to lap him, and he hits Stephen Kiefer. And then he tries to get out of the way. The 33 Dalton Brown spins into the inside trying to avoid him. And that's where your carnages, the 33 almost gets Billy Wise, and there's your leader, the 15, coming through the carnage. So good reason to throw the yellow flag there. It didn't look like super major damage. And with 20 laps to go, we are under caution one more time. Gonna give these guys a chance to get some tires or get some water, whatever they gotta do to finish out this race. 80 laps complete, 20 more laps to go. Jacob Van still has led every single lap in this race. Don Koneman's been chasing him every single lap. And Travis Zunema has really worked himself up, and he's up to 3rd position. He's going to have a great restart spot behind that number 15. Maybe he might be able to get by Koneman if he can time that restart just right. Seen it happen a couple times in here tonight. A few drivers taking the pits, looks like possibly just the ones that were involved in the incident, so not too much going on. Under caution flag, everybody basically staying out. And while we got you, I mean, Billy Wise looks like he's getting another wave around there. Do a little through your field here in a moment once they come across the stripe. We've all seen this number 15 out front. Jacob Van really doing a great job of controlling this race. Koneman been working really hard. He is in the 2nd position. And Travis Zunema in that 90 machine, he started all the way in the back and has worked his way up to P3, and he's holding on there. In 4th position is that number 23 of Tom Johnson, our championship defender. And Justin Sharp in the 11 is right behind him, rounding out your top 5. Thomas Wise in the number 6 position, rocking it out in that tie-dye number 3. In 7th place, Brian Lowhead in that number 24 machine. Really holding out after that incident he had a little bit earlier. Steven Kiefer's got himself back to 8th place. He's going to try to work that back up. And then we've got, it looks like, Nate Cotilla, Daniel Cook, and Dalton Brown all back a couple laps down. Billy Wise, Johnny Berardi, Robert Wise, and Michael Eden at the back of this thing, a few laps down after some incidences. But we're going to go green here on lap number 85. It's going to be 16 more laps to go when they hit the stripe. Jacob Van's got it in his foot. He hits the gas and he gets a little bit of a gap on Koneman. Zunema's going to try to look to the inside of Koneman going into turn number 1, but Koneman's just going to clear him. He runs a little high to keep Zunema behind, but he does a great job. Sharp trying to get around Johnson, but they all get in line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with Brian Lowhead back there in 6th position. Don Koneman knows now that he's going to have to put the pedal down to catch that number 15. He hasn't been able to do it the whole race, but he's got that number 90 machine and that number 23 right behind him. He can't make a mistake at the moment. And he can't be slowed up, so can he make it? With just a few short laps to go, he's right on his tail. Battling ensued with some of our lap cars. Billy Wise trying to make a spot on Dalton Brown, it looks like. We're going to stick here with your leaders. Koneman trying to make stuff happen. Sharp, Lowhead, Kiefer, Wise, all these guys really keeping it in a good line for the last few laps. And Koneman right on his bumper. Getting ready to come. 10 laps to go, and Koneman all over the 15. Is he going to make a move? Is Koneman looking down the inside? He's not going to make it. 10 laps to go. for Jacob Van. He's led 90 laps. Can he lead the last 10 and the most important one at the end? Koneman is there, but he just can't get there. Kiefer making a move on Brian Lohan. Move Kiefer up to 6th position. Koneman looking at the inside of the 50. He can't get down to the bottom. And he hits the 15. The 15 goes into the wall, and the 15! Oh, Jacob Van! He's back on his wheels, and that's going to cause a caution with 8 laps to go. Oh, tough break for that number 15 machine. That 97 was trying so hard to get behind him, or get in front of him. And it looks like he might have been there, but just wasn't there. We'll take a look at that from Koneman's point of view. See if he thought he was down. It doesn't look like he got him that hard. If it is anything, it was just a little bit of a hook. So that's a really tough racing incident there. I bet the 97 feels very horrible about what happened there. So the 15 coming out of the pits using one of them fast repairs. And as we're coming, it's going to be 5 laps to go next time they cross the stripe for Koneman, Zudema, and Tom Johnson, who is up to 3rd position. Jacob Van's sitting in the pits, not sure if he's gonna make it back out. There he is. He is coming back out onto the track. And he looks like he's gonna be shown 11th position as the leaders are getting ready to come back around one more time. So now Kiefer has got himself back up to 5th position, and we've got the number 11, Justin Sharp, new driver to the league, a name that I haven't heard come racing out with us before, but he is here, and he is currently 4th position, putting on a great run for that number 11 Eagle 1 machine. And I believe we're getting ready to go that green flag racing here in just a moment. And I believe it possibly going to be a green-white checkered situation. Which will make things very, very interesting. Looks like Jacob Van did not go lap down, but he is currently sitting down in 10th position. This time we should see lights go off on the pace car, and these guys are going to double them up. And it is. It's going to be a green-white checkered to settle it. I believe we have one extra green-white checkered if we need it. But we have Don Koneman on the inside, Travis Zudema starting to the outside, Tom Johnson in the 23 inside run number 2, Justin Sharp in the 11 on the outside, the 22 of Kiefer, and Brian Lohead in that number 24 in the outside of row number 3. Getting ready for green-white checker, and finally we got a restart in the hands of Don Koneman in the number 97 Swagger in wheel, and he's on the green flag. We're back racing with a green-white checker for the Simability Racing League round 1 here at Bristol. Zudema going to fall in front of Tom Johnson. Thomas Wise battling with Nate Cotilla in the back. And a caution flag out. Daniel Cook, Jacob Van, Johnny Berardi involved. And that is going to be possibly the end of the race. We might be getting a green-white checker. We will have to see if we get another green-white checker there. But let's take a look at what happened with Daniel Cook. looks like it was in front of them with Johnny Berardi. So let's take a look at that one more time with Johnny Berardi's point of view. Him and Billy Wise battling side by side. Dalton Brown shoves it in 3 wide. Berardi moves up and hits Wise, which then makes him take out Van. Oh, and a tough break for Cook as he's been riding up front most of the day. 3 wide situation gone awry. And it looks like we are going to have a green-white checker for these drivers. So a couple more laps to finish the race out. But the next flag, after this green flag, will do it. Koneman out front, Zunema in second, Tom Johnson third, Justin Sharp fourth, and Stephen Kiefer back up to 5th position in that number 22 machine. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight to this action-packed event. It's just we haven't even had time to go over anything with these drivers putting on such a show. We want a big thank to the Action Sports Foundation for supporting us and really pushing us to do what we do here. Big thank you to Billy Wise for setting this whole thing up and getting it going. These guys really enjoy going on here. And a big thanks to you guys for coming out and supporting us on the new channel, JPB on YouTube. It's a great partnership. I'm really excited to see what we're gonna do with these guys, and the future is looking fairly bright. And what's looking bright here is a green-white checker finish. Lights are off on the pace car. Cars are getting side by side, and we're gonna get a quick couple laps to decide this race. Koneman out front, Zunema in second, Johnson third, and Sharp in fourth. It's going to be a battle. Can Zunema upset Koneman? The pace car is pulling off. And we're not pulling off. Maybe I'm missing something. Looks like we are getting ready to go green this time by. So they got side by side, or they might have delayed the caution. But either way, looks like 105 laps is going to be the distance. Should be going green on this next time by. See Thomas Wise in that number 3. 4 cars back on the inside, putting him in 7th place. Nice run for that number 3 for the opening round. But it's all about these 4 up front. Who is going to take the win, or is it maybe someone from a couple rows back? Koneman gets on it real early, leaves Zunema out to dry. Tom Johnson now to the inside of Zunema. And Zunema falling back fairly quick. He gets put behind Justin Sharp. Now Kiefer in low head battling. Looks like we got a car down on the apron. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go for Don Koneman. Into 97. Tom Johnson and Justin Sharp battling side by side. Nose to nose. Sharp's going to look to the inside of Johnson. It's not going to do anything. And coming out of turn 4, checkers in the air. Don Koneman's going to win round number 1 here at Bristol. Tom Johnson at number 23 coming in second. Really keeping them championship battles close. Justin Sharp in the number 11 taking the other podium spot in third. Travis Zunema in the number 90 takes home 4th. Stephen Kiefer in 5th. Brian Lowhead 6th. Jacob Van 7th. Daniel Cook 8th. Thomas Wise 9th. And Dalton Brown rounds out the top 10. And what a drive by Don Koneman and Tom Johnson. See there, Justin Sharp in not being shown in third. So, oh sorry, that is qualifying results. Making me think something's wrong. Justin Sharp does take third. Outside of 10th, we got Nate Cotilla finishing 11th. Billy Wise finishing 12th, Robert Wise in 13th, Johnny Berardi in 14th, Michael Eden in 15th, and sadly for Chris Roberge, he only completed 31 laps, and he's going to round out our field in 16th position. And that is your results for the race. We're going to get ready to talk to a few of our drivers, but first we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Simability Racing League here live on JPB here on YouTube. We are here in the booth with our third place finisher, Tom Johnson. Congratulations on a third place run. Tell me, what was it like being out in that field today? It looked like it was a tough drive.
It was hard, but it was second place, not third. Justin Sharp got third.
Oh, sorry, it kind of messed me up there. Yeah, second place for Tom. You were running third right there at the end, and got by. Tell me what kind of drive that was today.
There to move into second on that last restart, or not Tanner, Travis. Got by Travis on the last restart. Luckily, I had the inside, which is the better lane to start on, so that helped a bunch. And then watching the guy ahead, when he goes, you go. So it was hard. It was tough.
That number 15 machine, he was pretty quick tonight. Do you think you've got something for him, being the reigning champion? You really got something to prove, and you really put it on the scoreboard when it counted with that P2 position. Do we got to look forward to more of that in this SK Modified?
I'll be trying, man. I'll be trying. That's all I can say. I mean, just got to do my best to try 100% or 120% or whatever I can. So,
well, congratulations. P2, Koneman was fast tonight. It took him giving a little bump to that 15 getting by. So we'll look forward to seeing you next week when you go some short track racing. And congratulations on that P2 tonight.
Thanks a bunch. I want to give a shout out to Billy for doing the footwork on setting all these races up and everything. And a shout out for Glenn for the sponsorship for Simability, and shout out to you for doing an awesome job broadcasting, man.
Well, thank you very much, and we will see you next week.
Sounds great then.
All right, there is your second place finisher, Tom Johnson. Messed up our order just a little bit, so we're going to bring up our third place podium finisher, Justin Sharp, in the number 11 machine, a new driver from what I know here at Simability Racing League. And Justin, tell us about your drive tonight. Third place is a pretty awesome position to come in with a caliber of drivers like this.
Yeah, man. I was just hanging back there for a bit. Got a good spot, good setup from my teammate Jacob. He was running first, and I was just trying to reel him in. But sucks what happened to him there, and I'm glad I could bring us at least the top 3 home.
So yeah, tell us about you in that number 11 machine, a new driver to Simability, coming out here, finishing in the top 3 with some of the best drivers around. What have you been racing quite a long time here on iRacing, or are you fairly new?
I'm fairly new actually. This account was my uncle's. My uncle passed away December 8th, and I just recently started iRacing. This is probably my 3rd week of iRacing, and
Wow.
I'm just getting a hang of it.
Well, that is pretty incredible. You're running with some pretty awesome people. We'll look forward to seeing what the season has. Are you planning on running with us full time?
Yeah, I will be here full time.
Awesome. Well, that's good to know. That is your third place finisher, Justin Sharp, in the number 11 machine. Justin, you got anybody you wanna say thank you to?
I just want to thank you all for putting on the host. You for broadcasting it, and thanks to Simability for having the races.
Well, there you have it. The number 11, Justin Sharp, your second place finisher here this evening. And we're going to go to the big man of the day, Don Koneman, your winner of round number 1 with the Simability Racing League SK Super Series. Don Koneman, what a run tonight, man. You really had a lot going for you. You really had a lot of battling to do. Take us through that last half of the race here.
Well, last half of the race was pretty cut and clean. Just get by all the people you can get by. I'm just depressed. Honestly, it doesn't feel like a win. I feel like I took the guy who led the race out the whole time out, and I don't deserve to be here, to be honest with you. And I had backed out of him many times on an inside run, and just so because I didn't think his spotter was calling car low, he wasn't reacting like it. And when we were down there and it was a couple to go, when the spotter called it, I didn't let off. And I knew it was going to happen, but I kept it pinned, and I'm not very happy about it, to be honest with you.
Well, we went back and looked at the incident, and it didn't really look like you hit him that hard. It looked like just maybe a bar might have bumped each other the wrong part of the corner. It is a tough break, but I mean, he did say that he's been in the league for only a few short races, so he's definitely got a lot to learn racing with some of these drivers and how all the drivers work, because you really do learn how all of the competitors you race against, how they drive. So he's definitely got a little bit of learning to do. But you got the points out. You're starting out the season with 15 points from winning the race. You got anybody you want to thank?
Just Mr. Billy Weiss for sponsoring this, Mr. Jacob for running me clean, and I'm sorry for what I did to him. No other words to say. I'll watch a broadcast and might reform an opinion, but that's how it is. And you for broadcasting this, and well, of course, Glenn. Can't forget Glenn, and everybody else up there in the Simability. They do a great job.
Well, there you have it. Don Koneman in the 97 machine, taking home the win for round 1 at the Simability SK Super Series. And that's going to do it for us, folks. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you can see all the cool stuff that's going to pop up every time we go racing. And you get to see finishes like the one with Don Koneman taking the checkered flag at Bristol. For everybody here at JP Broadcasting and the Simability Racing League, thanks for joining us. And y'all have a wonderful night.